Welcome back, everybody, to All Things Rangers and our weekly show. Thank you all for subscribing. We're on our way to our first 100 subscribers, marching our way to 1,000. I'm Mark Williams, and I'm brought to you by the one and only John Filkowski.
Hello, everybody, and what's going on in Ranger Land these days? We're about to talk about those things, and do we have an interesting piece to start with.
I think
Since that's on everybody's minds fresh.
I think that's got to be the word. Interesting is the best way to describe a lot of it, because it feels also like deja vu. Like we just went through this a month ago in a different scenario, however you want to slice it. Like the team started kind of picking up a little bit, and then got to be hit with some news. But John, I'll turn this one over to you. Why don't you break it to everybody?
All right, so if you're familiar with the way politics work in Russian, like I know I've said before that I really don't like getting into politics, but this is unavoidable. Artemi Panarin is, let's just to put it in the simplest way possible, Artemi Panarin is not a supporter of Vladimir Putin and his version of Russia. So Artemi Panarin has been vocal about his support for jailed Russian attorney Alexei Navalny and his opposition and his very vocal opposition of Vladimir Putin. So on January 21st, Artemi Panarin on Instagram put up a post of Alexei Navalny, a picture of him with his family, and put the caption in Russian and said, "Free Navalny." And now we fast forward a month later, and noted former NHL goon, mentally unstable, who's gotten into many altercations in the KHL, even got fired for him, and noted Putin lackey, Alexei Nazarov, came out and stated that Artemi Panarin, who was a player of his at the time, as he was coach on Czechia's Vityaz in the KHL back in 2011, stated that Artemi Panarin back at that time had assaulted a girl at a club in what's first known as Russia, and then it comes to terms that it was in Riga, Latvia, as they were playing Riga Dynamo, the KHL. There's a lot of political motivation behind this. Reporter Stephen Wino, who reports for the Caps, he's a beat writer for the Capitals, actually came out and stated that Nazarov had admitted to speaking out on the subject, quote unquote, because Panarin, he felt motivated to do so because of Panarin's political commentary against Russia and Putin. And there have been many stories that have come out, and I'll refer to my Twitter account for them because there's a lot of posts that I made yesterday in regards to this. So to give you a little timeline, basically what happened was that he came out and admitted to it. Then I also found further past history of Nazarov being, let's just say, a shill, to put it nicely. Nazarov actually also previously lambasted former NHLer TJ Gagliardi, who went and played overseas in the KHL, and actually asked for his release from his contract in September of 2017 after not being happy with the way of life in Russia. And he went on spitting chiclets, I think probably a couple of years ago, and basically dropped a bunch of what we call truth bombs or pipe bombs, as wrestling fans noted them as, stating that the quality of life over there was bad. He spoke out against Putin vocally, and Nazarov was actually quoted as saying that if Gagliardi ever comes back to Russia, they should throw him in jail and have him relieve himself in a hole. And if by relieve yourself, I mean go to the bathroom in a hole. So Nazarov obviously has a lot of political motivation, And the only other NHLer I think that's been more vocal in their support for Vladimir Putin has probably been Alexander Ovechkin, surprisingly. So there was other information that came out afterwards stating that the attendants at the hotel that they were at have no such recollection of an incident. And other players on the Vityaz team that Panarin played on at the time recall no such incident either. So Nazarov's story has basically been debunked. Panarin's leave of absence is more than likely to take care of his family and make sure that they get to safety. I don't know if he'll be going over to Russia. I would imagine it's probably not a good idea for him to do so in this climate. But a lot of older hockey fans probably remember the what would you call the word? The
defection.
Yeah, the defections. I'm sorry. Sergei Fedorov, Alexander
Mogilny,
Slava Fetisov, even Evgeny Malkin had a hard time getting over here, and Nikolai Zherdev too. They both have hard times getting over here because Nikolai Zherdev and Evgeny Malkin had military duty to fulfill, so they wanted to get out of there. But the earlier players, especially like even the Stastny brothers, left in the middle of the night and had to rendezvous in another country to get a flight to America. So, I mean, this is nothing new for the Russian landscape. And there's been a lot of outspoken people about it in terms of the political world and even in the sports world and other aspects. But Artemi Panarin is probably the most vocal anti-Putin opposition right now in the sports world. So, I mean, I just hope for the best for Artemi and his family at this point. I don't really care how long he's been out or he's going to be out for. He's got to do what's best for his family. That's the number one priority right now. And if you ask me, the NHL and the U.S. government should probably get involved to a point. And there's no reason not to, because there are people's lives that are in safety, that are in danger, and they need safety. And this is not a good situation for Artemi or his family to be in. So, Redman, we stand with you. Take your time.
Redman.
Your family's okay, and please just be safe.
And it's one thing I was scared about waking up because, bartender, I woke up at 11 o'clock yesterday. So I got the news late. So I was trying to figure out every morsel of information on it. And we've already been through it enough last month with the story that came out about Tony DeAngelo, which was debunked. It's just now you lose another scorer. They've lost two of their top four scorers from last year in the last 30 days. I applaud the Rangers for getting him the help he needs and putting out the statement supporting him. What I'm worried about is on a couple other things. Not whether or not the validity of the story or any particular part of that. Is there going to be any retribution possibly? Because there's Vitaly Kravtsov still over there.
Well, that's what I wonder about too. I mean, it's not just retribution physically against Panarin and his family or anything like that, but now is that going to be a problem? I don't think it should be, and I think he has 1 year left on his deal, if I'm correct. I mean,
Kravtsov, I think he expires this March.
With the KHL. I know the playoffs start, I believe, in March for the KHL. So we're looking at like the final stretch of the season right now. So I think the playoffs actually start next week or the week after that for them. So we could see Kravtsov as early as, I would say, maybe April. So he should be able to come over, but I would just wonder if the Russian government starts causing problems for the Rangers. And I would hope not, because then the IIHF and the KHL get involved, and then it's a whole mess with the transfer agreement at that point, and there's more politics that get involved. And this is honestly the last thing we want. It's just, and I I want to preface this by saying that I hope everything is well with Artemi and his family gets the safety and everything. But this is why I don't like politics in sports. It's not a safe haven to kind of cross lines there, if you will. And I honestly, sports are entertainment for us, and I think there should be a break from that. And everybody can have their own views. Everybody is allowed to their views. I'm not saying they can't say them or anything like that, but I personally wish that sports and politics would separate, because I just want to be able to enjoy sports.
Well, also, this is why it is a privilege to be an American. If you don't mind me getting on my soapbox for a minute, and all the stuff that athletes were able to say about their governments. And now we look at ones that aren't exactly so free to say things about their governments. There's no way it happening here in America. Mark Cuban doesn't have to fear for his life with some of the statements that he's made, or any athlete. I mean, we can criticize them because we have a different opinion. That's the beauty of everybody in America having opinions. Yeah. It's just it's something. There's like a lump in my throat thinking about this with Panarin, because just the amount of pressure that he's under, it's scary. I can never imagine being in that situation, and I'll say it's because I'm born in Long Island. I don't have to worry about that. I wonder if, well, obviously this ends anytime he's going to play for Russia. I wonder if it's going to cause any problems with other Russian players. I'm rambling a bit on this because there's so many questions that I have. What about you, John?
No, you know what? You're not rambling on it. It's free thought. Like you said before, like we have the ability to question and to disagree and to voice our opinions because we're American citizens, and that's what America was founded on: the ability to do so, the freedom of speech. And like you said, we don't have that in Russia. Like obviously, there's a problem. Like there was a picture. I'm not saying it's a meme. It was actually a picture posted of 4 different people who spoke out against Putin and are no longer with us. And I think you get the idea of what I'm getting at there.
Yeah.
So with everything that's going on, I have so many questions too. That's why, like I said, I agree with your ability to speak. I fully support the freedom of speech that everyone has. Whether you like politics and sports, that's fine. If you like that, that's your thing. I personally don't. I want sports to be the escape that they're supposed to be. Remember like 9/11 and how baseball and hockey were our escape from what was going on, and how that Mike Piazza home run brought an entire state together. That was one of the greatest moments in baseball history, bar none.
And it's also one of the moments that made me understand what the national anthem really means. Although it was actually America the Beautiful that they played that night. And hearing my grandfather, who fought in World War II, have the emotion in him singing it. And that's what I remember. And that's why I sort of have my opinions whenever the anthem gets in there.
Of course.
And it's also where you can't help but think about we have the Russian player that is right now being terrorized by the government. Imagine if we had a Chinese player that spoke out against their government. I mean,
that was the thing with the basket with NBA and LeBron James and them, during 2020 in the summer and what was going on in that. And again, and like I said, I fully support anyone who wants to voice their opinion about anything. It's freedom of speech. That's, like I said, what this country has been founded on. But I honestly think that sports and politics together is a slippery slope.
Oh, hey, you still here? Well, you know what you should do? You should watch some of these other videos on our channel, like this one, comment, and share it with other people.